I have been trying frantically over the last few days to find a decent deal on Facebook Marketplace. Alas, I have fallen short of my goal. I can't find anything. So I went on there today, and I may or may not be showing you an overlay of the Facebook website right now. But yeah, I had a little look through, and there's a few things like people are just trying to sell things for far too much money. Someone's trying to sell a Switch. It's just a bog standard Switch. It's not an OLED. It's not any, it's not, I don't even know if it's version 2 or version 1. It is literally just a bog standard Switch, and someone is trying to get 350 quid for it. What are you smoking? You can buy a brand new OLED with at least 2 games for 350. And of course, there's a new one on the horizon. I've got other people here trying to sell an Xbox One Halo 5 edition console, which, to be fair, I wouldn't mind having. It is the bog standard Xbox One, but it is just the console. The controller's not with it. They want 80 quid. It is boxed, but the box is battered from what I can tell. Someone's selling an Xbox One controller for £40, just a bog standard controller that I'm sure is not that much more than 40 quid. And of course, Black Friday isn't that far away. We are 1 month almost exactly away. And if I ventured further afield, maybe I would be able to find something decent. But yeah, I can't really find anything, unfortunately. Someone's selling an Xbox Series X actually for 320 quid, which is obviously a decent deal, but I don't want to be paying anywhere near 320 quid when I pick one up. And if I do end up buying one brand new, for example, I want to have something against it, credit. So what I decided to do instead was to pop into CeX and have a little look if I can make money from them. Now, there are many ways to do this, and we've done this before. Of course, the easiest way to make money from CeX, in my opinion anyway, is Steelbooks. Recently, I picked up the Resident Evil Biohazard Steelbook for 6 quid, I think it was. I already have the standard version of the game, and I'm not a massive Steelbook kind of guy, so I was happy to let that go. And I actually sold it for about 35 quid. I can make a separate video about this, but in a nutshell, not everyone has access to CeX, not everyone likes CeX, and not everyone even knows CeX exists. So when it comes to things like picking up Steelbooks or even a version of a game, for example, I sold off many of my Switch games fairly recently, and a lot of them I sold for CeX price or more. Why and how? Well, not everyone uses the CeX website, but on top of that, there is something on eBay called GSP, which is the Global Shipping Program, meaning I can sell it to anyone in the world that the GSP supports, and all I have to do is send it to a distribution centre in the UK, I think it's in Leeds, and then eBay deal with sending that item abroad. Someone in Germany bought that Steelbook. They paid 30 something quid for it, and then they paid the international shipping. Now, you don't want to know how much the international shipping was on that item. I'm going to tell you, I think they've paid about £20 just shipping. Now, that's nothing to do with me. I don't get that money. I haven't obviously spent that to send it. I think I paid 3 quid to send it to Leeds. eBay are the ones that collect that 20 quid and then they ship it on. But I mean, if someone in Germany is happy to spend £50 plus for a Steelbook, which is mental, so be it. Do they have CeX in Germany? I really don't know. But then, of course, you can't buy the Steelbook directly from the website. And if they don't have any stores anywhere near where this guy lives in Germany, then the only way to get it is eBay. But that is my point in a nutshell. So I get so many messages on eBay and Vinted and places saying this game is cheaper in CeX. Why would anyone buy this from you when I can get it in CeX for just like £1 more or the same price? And I never answer them because it's just not worth my time. I can't be bothered. But the long and short of it is, I sell everything I list. I research every single game I pick up, and yes, there will be mistakes here or there. But for the most part, I look at sold listings and I know generally how much I can get for something. If I go on the CeX website and I see it's there for £12, but it has been selling consistently on eBay for 15, 16, 17, then I know I can get 15, 16, 17. It doesn't matter what CeX are selling it for. And I've proved that to myself time and time again, because I used to question it when someone sent me a message saying, why are you trying to sell it for this price when I can get it from CeX? I was thinking, yeah, do you know what? He's right. But stick to your guns and eventually someone will pay it. And that's exactly what happened here. Someone from Germany has bought it and I've made a lot more money than what I bought it for. So with that being said, I went into CeX and I had a little look around. There was one game in particular that I wanted to buy, and it was on the Xbox 360. It's not a game you see that often. It's more of an ESRB game, although there is a PAL version, and that's what the version was in CeX, and that is the version that I ended up buying. But you don't see it that often, and if I wanted to sell it to make a profit, I probably could, but I want to keep it. But I didn't want to spend money on it. I wanted to make it free, so what I needed to do was look for some Steelbooks. To be fair, it's not always Steelbooks you need to look for. There are things like this, the double pack, Soul Calibur 6 and Tekken 7 double pack. Bit of a random one for me personally. You can see off to the left here, and I will show you in a second, Tekken 7 by itself is 15, so for an extra $5 you can get that double pack with Soul Calibur. I didn't actually look it up because I didn't think that there would be much money in it, and I haven't looked it up since. It's on screen for you right now, but then this caught my eye, but it's literally just the slipcover for The Witcher. There's no Steelbook in there at all. So I carried on looking, but like I said, you don't have to look for Steelbooks. There are going to be games here that you can pick up that are going to be worth selling on just as they are. And it's one of those things, again, that just because CeX has it priced up at whatever the price may be. So the next game we pick up, we'll use that as an example, right? So when you pick up a game, and I think it's going to be Rust. So Rust is actually a pretty decent example, because I think this does sell for more than 25 on eBay. So it's £25 in CeX. It is a game I really want to play on the consoles. I don't think it's going to be that well supported that much longer, but still, £25. There is a very good chance you can sell that on for more on eBay. With, you know, the fees and everything, it won't be worth it, but games like Rust, and when I say games like Rust, there isn't a sort of specific criteria. It's the more you look games up, the more you research them, and the more you learn about them, you'll recognize them when you see them, and Rust is definitely going to be one of those. But this is the pickup that I decided to go with. This is the Horizon Zero Dawn Steelbook. It doesn't have a slipcover, and I don't know if it ever did, but this is just £4. Now, I have the standard version of this game. I put it to one side because this caught my eye as well. Last of Us Part 2 Steelbook on the PlayStation 4. This game is pretty expensive. Of course, it has spiked and remained quite high due to the TV show, and it's a themed house in Halloween Horror Nights, and that has also sparked some interest. And of course, by the time it dies down, we'll have another series, so I don't think that's going to come down anytime soon. So I put that to one side with Horizon Zero Dawn, and I will look those up in just a second, but I thought I'd have another quick scan. I found another one. This was Final Fantasy, I think this is 15. It means absolutely nothing to me, Final Fantasy. I've never really tried playing it. I don't think I ever will. I don't actually know if I looked that up. I don't know why. I'm going to go do that right now because I don't think I looked that up, and I'll show you the price in just a second. But yeah, I found a couple, and a lot of them are the sort of usual suspects. You know, I see them Red Dead 2 and Dirt, whatever the number is, the bright orange Steelbook. You know, it's the usual suspects in those cases, but The Last of Us, Final Fantasy and Horizon Zero Dawn, they were worth looking up. The Final Fantasy 15 Steelbook may actually have been worth picking up. I probably could have doubled my money on that, and I do kind of regret not picking it up. I don't know why I didn't put it to the side to check the price of it. It is meant to come with a slipcover. However, they have been selling just without the slipcover, just the Steelbook in good condition, which it was, to be fair, for around 10 to 15. It might be a bit of a hard sell and I might have to wait, but they do sell, so yeah, I should have picked that up. The Last of Us Part 2 Steelbook was unfortunately a little too high. They were selling for about 22, 25, which, you know, for people who just don't know an awful lot about reselling, or those who were just looking at money, you're thinking, well, you can make a fiver there, so, you know, why not? Well, after fees and how long it takes to sell, it probably isn't worth it, and that's if you can sell it for 25. The beautiful thing about selling on Vinted, for example, there are no fees, and I love selling things on Vinted. It's so easy. I don't have to sort out addresses and postage and all the rest of it. I print the label that Vinted send me, stick it on the item, put it in a locker, and then I forget about it, and I will eventually get the money. It's a beautiful system, and I hope it never changes. And of course, when you sell, you don't pay any fees. So if I sell it for 25, I get 25. Postage is on top of that and it's covered separately and it's nothing to do with me, it is brilliant. However, the customer base on Vinted is far less than eBay. There's no global shipping program, and yeah, things could be hanging around a little while, unfortunately. So on this occasion, I decided that it wasn't worth me putting down 20 quid on this just to potentially make a fiver, because at the end of the day, it may have even ended up me just breaking even and getting my money back. So not worth it, moved on. One left. And I pretty much already gave it away in the video. I did indeed buy this because, ladies and gentlemen, this for £4 is a pretty decent deal. Now, it's not going to be anywhere near as good as the Resident Evil Steelbook pickup. However, I am still going to be able to move this on for some profit, and incidentally it will end up paying for the game that I picked up today. So there should be more to this, unfortunately. I think there's like a box and an art book that comes inside it. This unfortunately is just the Steelbook, and there is nothing but the disc and just a little leaflet on the inside. There is of course some decent artwork on the inside of this, and if you're into your Steelbooks, it's in pretty damn good condition, to be fair. If I collected them, I would 100% be keeping this. But as I've mentioned previously, they don't really do an awful lot for me. If I can pick them up cheap and they're not really worth an awful lot, sure, I'll put them on the shelf. The Death Stranding Steelbook, for example, that's not really worth much more than I paid for it, so that will remain in the collection, as well as like a Call of Duty one and a few others. But this one, I can get roughly, I don't know, 17 plus postage. Seeing as how this is in very good condition as well, I would imagine that that would sell quite quickly. 16th of October was the last time someone sold one without the slipcover, and it went for $16.95 plus postage. So after fees, assuming it sells on eBay, I'm probably looking at around £10 in profit, which is going to be enough for me to be able to pick up the game on the 360 that I wanted. However, before I get there, a quick look in a charity shop. Now, this is the charity shop that I actually tend to pick up games in. They have them from time to time. So they have a PS4 game, The Dwarves, which was price matched to CeX at £5. So if you're into that sort of thing, pick it up. Far Cry 2 was there for like $1.50 or whatever. And there was a very small stack here, nothing amazing. Pro Evo 2 on the PS2, if you're interested. But there was a PlayStation 1 game there, and it was Crash Bash. Now, we'll have a little closer look at that in a second. They also had a guitar for Guitar Hero Live. This was £5, I think. But it didn't have a dongle, didn't have the game. I couldn't be bothered, so I left it there. However, this is Crash Bash, and this is £10. I really, really, really wish that I'd recorded the transaction going through at the till, because the woman behind the till, as I gave it to her and I said, oh, just this one please, as we do in the UK, she said, you do know the price, right? They know they price things very, very high. £10 for a PlayStation 1 game can be seen as very high, and I'm sure many people would have looked at that and gone, pfft, and walked away. And I nearly did, but I thought I might as well look it up because you never know. And yeah, lo and behold, I will make profit from this. Now, I'm not interested in collecting PlayStation 1 for the most part. I will look to pick up a fair few in the future, and I'll talk about that in another video. However, for the time being, I'm not bothered about keeping it. So, if you go and search up Crash Bash PlayStation 1 on eBay right now, you might be thinking, no, I don't think you can make profit on that, because it's only really selling for maybe the same, a touch more than what you paid for it. How are you going to make profit on it? You didn't want to pick up The Last of Us 2 because the profit margin wasn't there. So how are you going to do it? Well, some of you may have already noticed that this isn't just your bog standard copy of Crash Bash. This is the black label version of Crash Bash. There are two versions. There is a platinum and there is a black label. Collectors will pay, not for every game, but for the most part anyway, collectors will pay just that little bit more for a black label over a platinum, because the grey is ugly and no one wants that on the shelf. You get the black spine, you get the black label, of course, and the disc itself is different. On the platinum version of this, the disc is just silver with no artwork whatsoever, just the name of the game. With the black label version, you get actual artwork on the disc, and as a collector, you'll know that that is far more desirable than just the bog standard platinum version. So, this one, at the moment, is selling for around £25 to £30. And yes, for those who are wondering, it comes with the manual, which, by the way, eBay, I don't think has ever been opened. That is in very, very good condition. It's actually quite rare to find PlayStation 1 games in, well, anywhere, but to find them in this condition is actually quite surprising. The disc itself does have some scratches, and I will be putting that in the listing, of course, but the case itself, the hinges are intact, no cracks whatsoever, the manual's very good, and the artwork looks fantastic. So for £10, even though I am paying up in a charity shop for that, I don't think they should be charging that much, but at the same time, I'm going to be able to make profit, so I'm not that disgruntled by it at all. Yeah, it would have been amazing if that was £2 or £1, but you know, they've obviously done their research. They know that that game is worth a little bit more. However, they've not done full research because they've not differentiated between platinum and black label. They've just looked at recently sold on eBay by the looks of things, and you can see that it's around 10 quid, so they've just labelled it as £10. Had they known the difference between black label and platinum, they probably would have priced it up higher. So you can still find things in charity shops, and you still can catch charity shops slipping because they don't know everything. I will of course be cross-listing this on Vinted and eBay and hoping that Vinted gets the sale, and I always put things up a slightly cheaper on Vinted just because it's convenient and because of course there are no fees. But if I can get 25 quid for it on Vinted or on eBay, I'm happy either way, minus fees or not, it doesn't make a difference. That is a decent little bit of profit. So I'm going to be able to make £10 off that quite comfortably, and with the roughly £10 on Horizon Zero Dawn Steelbook as well, we have got around 20 quid to play with. Now, unfortunately, I didn't know that when I was in CeX the first time round because I went there first. So I haven't spent £20, but it does mean that we're going to add money to the cash profit in this series. But first, let's go back to CeX, have a little look through the 360 and have a little look at the game that I picked up. I apologise if the footage on this one looks a little bit dodgy, it will clear up in just a second. This is Sherlock Holmes, or one of the Sherlock Holmes games on the 360. I've never played this one, I've played the one with the red cover, and I played it purely for achievements, but actually ended up enjoying it, even though it is a pretty god-awful game. Have you ever played either of the Sherlock Holmes games on the 360? Let me know in the comments. So, a little bit of a price hike recently in CeX when it comes to some 360 games. Fatal Inertia was 4, it's now 5. It's not a massive price hike, but it is obviously going in the wrong direction as far as people who want to buy games are concerned. I did think about it, but now, for some reason, I don't want to buy it because it's gone up in price. And it's stupid because it will only continue to go up in price. Anyway, Left 4 Dead on the 360. £12. We do have Left 4 Dead 2, but I don't have the first one, and this is the game of the year with, of course, the sort of bonus content as well. Did think about it, however, there is another game that I want here, of course, and I knew exactly what I wanted. Another price increase. You can see that they've just stuck over another sticker. That was 6, now 8. Black Site for 150 is a decent pickup actually if you're into your budget pickups and just want something to play. But the game that I wanted and went in there for was a game that I don't actually think I've ever played properly. It is Backbreaker. This game is not that easy to get your hands on if you want the PAL version. If you're happy just to pick up the ESRB, then you can find it quite commonly in just random shops and of course on eBay. But if you want the PAL version, you may have to shop round, and there aren't that many in the company when it comes to CeX. So I was very happy to pick it up. For £8, it does mean that if I wanted to sell this right now on eBay, I could make a couple of pounds profit, and I would imagine it would go quite quick. I don't really know too much about this. I think it was an attempt, and I might be wrong here, I'm literally just speculating, but I think it was an attempt to compete with Blitz the League, maybe. Blitz is a very, very good game, and I have played those two a lot. This one, though, always sort of passed me by because it was more of a US release than it was in the UK. And I'm saying that as if I'm, you know, the expert on this and any other game. But I used to work in a video game store, and I don't think we ever stocked this, let alone saw it get traded in or anything. So I really wanted to pick it up. There were definitely a few other games there that I wanted, and had I really known that I had that sort of, you know, at a £15-20 profit that we're going to be playing with here, yes, I probably would have picked up another game. Would it have been Sherlock Holmes? Probably not. But it might have been Left 4 Dead, although I would begrudge paying £12 for that when it is a fairly common game. But there is definitely one or two others there that I wanted, but I decided that Backbreaker had to absolutely come home with me. Now, I did actually buy some other games there, and you'll see them in another video when we do. Not really a spending the profit, but it's going to be more like a budget type video, and I did end up picking up some games for the collection. Unfortunately, all of the Mega Drive games that were traded in recently have all but gone, so Outrun that I wanted gone. They had around like 68 games, I think, in total. That's boxed and unboxed. And I'm not interested in the unboxed stuff, of course. But they had around 68 games traded in. And I think they have around 14 left. Let me know in the comments if you would have picked up Crash, and of course if you would have picked up that Horizon Zero Dawn Steelbook. Have you found any Steelbooks in CeX recently worth keeping or flipping? If you want to check out another video from my series, you can click here. And until the next time, goodbye.